Alright, so today we're going to start taking notes over potential and kinetic energy as we're starting our physics unit. Again, you were given a note sheet to take home and complete. You're going to need to fill in what's in red, and I added some extra information in blue. So to begin with, there are some laws in nature that we as scientists have recognized and follow. The first one is the law of conservation of energy. So you need to write this, add this into your note page. The law of conservation of energy simply states that energy can never be created or destroyed. So we don't go out and just make energy, and likewise we don't just destroy it or get rid of it. So it's one of those scientific laws that we need to all be very much aware of, and we're going to explain how all of that works here. Okay, so in this diagram or drawing we see, you could say it's like a pendulum or a ball attached to a string, and it is swinging. This is a fixed point, okay, that's holding it. You see these terms PE and KE. Well, PE, it means potential energy. Potential means it could do something. Kinetic energy, and we're going to define this even more, is motion. Now we see that this ball, the position of this ball right here, at this position it has a lot, because the arrow is pointing up, of potential energy, but not much kinetic energy. It's very important that you follow the arrows in these diagrams. As you see the ball swinging down, you're going to notice that as it goes from being up high to down lower, the potential energy and the kinetic energy swap places. Down here, closer to the bottom, you see there's less potential energy but a lot more kinetic, and we're going to explain more on the other side of your note page as to specifically what potential energy is and kinetic energy and those differences. Right here I wanted you to take a look at these diagrams and just note that it's important that you follow arrows as to the motion of the object, and know that the higher something is off the ground, the more potential it is going to have. Okay, so energy, we talk about energy a lot, but energy is actually the ability to do work, to do some kind of work. Well, what is work then? Well, we have a definition, a science definition for work. It is a change in temperature, speed, position, pressure, or form of matter as a direct result of energy applied in a system. So again, work is a change in a system because of temperature, speed, position, pressure. Variable. We talked about variables with our scientific method unit. A variable is something measurable that can change. So key, measurable, and it can change. Here we have the definition of potential energy. This is very important. Potential energy is stored energy. Put a star by it. Potential energy depends on gravity. So the higher the object, the more potential energy it will have. And this note page will be more clear on the next slide over. So again here, potential energy. You can continue to fill in and see all of the words. Again, super important. It is stored energy, depends on gravity. The higher the object, the more potential energy it will have. And up here we have our drawing showing that the higher this object, this ball is, the more potential energy it has. Kinetic energy is the other form of energy that we'll be talking about, and it is the energy of motion. So anything moving showing kinetic energy. Kinetic energy depends on an object's mass or velocity. So depends on mass or velocity. Mass is the amount of matter in something, and the velocity is oftentimes the direction and speed at which it is moving. So here's an example. A large ball rolling will have more kinetic energy than a small ball. Over here, very important to take note, the sum of all mechanical means move, sum of all mechanical energy is the potential energy plus the kinetic energy. And that's going to tell you the total amount of energy in a system. And lastly, we have a term called the joule. This is the unit used to measure energy. So that's very important to understand. So unit used to measure energy. The amount of energy that is needed for a change within a system. So the joule is telling you the amount of energy that is needed for some kind of change to take place. We have lots of units of measure. We measure with a ruler, centimeters or meters. We can measure temperature using Celsius. So we measure energy using the unit called the joule. So this pretty much sums up all of the notes that you need. Again, you can pause, rewatch, listen to, make sure that you have all the information copied in your note page. Bring it to class because you're going to be using it in an activity and it will be part of your grade.